Alrighty, hello everybody. So this is the second part of the video of transformation I was speaking about. We're going through a great transformation right now. Transformation of laying down the ego, transformation of connecting to our higher self, seeing the bigger picture, understanding our purpose, all of these things. And it's happening on a global scale, within us, within Mother Earth, the collective consciousness, outside in the world around us. So great transformation is happening right now, and it can be an uncomfortable transition, but with great results, So what I want to talk a little bit about here now is about the ego. Everybody is always speaking about shedding the ego and oh, gotta get rid of the ego and all of these things. Yes, we perhaps don't need to get rid of the ego, but we need to balance the ego, because everything has its purpose. Too much water in the soup is not good. Too little water in the soup is not good. There's a right amount of water in the soup. There's a right amount of ego that is beneficial to us. Otherwise, it would not exist. So to understand the ego a little bit, I want to explain why or where it comes from that we have what we call an ego, or our personality, or our characteristics. So once upon a time, we were out there somewhere, deciding that we are going to be in this dimension, in this timeline. And during that time, we decided what we were going to do, what our purpose was, what our missions were, what was going to happen in that life, what lessons you were going to go through. And to go through those particular lessons, to be able to do that particular purpose or those particular missions, or have that particular type of life, you had to come in to this timeline or to this dimension during a certain time and place, through a certain frequency. So when we are born at a certain place, at a certain time, with a certain name, with certain parents. And that is kind of a porthole, a specific porthole that we came through, if you will, to mold everything that we are. Exactly the time and place and parents and etc. that I was born at was able to create this frequency that I'm vibrating at. This body with this personality, with this type of tone of voice, with this color hair, with these eyes, and I came in that specific time and place because I had decided before what my purpose is, what my missions are. And to be able to do those purposes, those missions, I needed to have a particular quality, personality, characteristics, abilities, to be able to do them. So then imagine, okay, well, this is what I got to do. I need these characteristics. And then there's some guy somewhere who decides, well, if you land at this time and that date in this place, then you will have all what you need, all your tools, all those characteristics, what you need to do those things. So then I basically got shut out. My soul got shut out a porthole and landed in a porthole at a specific time, place, into a womb right here, and I was birthed with all that I need for this timeline, this life. And what I need is also a certain type of characteristics, a certain type of person, if you will. That's our ego. I need a certain type of ego, a certain type of identity, a certain type of I to be able to do this work right now. If I didn't have certain abilities, as I don't know, being able to listen to other people, then the type of job that I'm doing or missions in my lifetime wouldn't really work out for me. So I needed to be also stubborn in this lifetime. Don't ask me exactly why. I'm very stubborn, and I'm less stubborn because I practice on it, but there was something about my stubbornness that I needed, because otherwise I would have probably never had the courage to go against what everybody else is doing, to go against the grain and do something different. So perhaps that stubbornness has been really beneficial for me, and perhaps not so beneficial for me when I'm not using it at the right time, but that helped me with that courage, right? So our ego is kind of created. When we are born, we come, our soul comes in, and we create, we have a certain characteristics, a certain taste, it's a certain color we specifically hold. And through this ego, you know, of perhaps you are a chatty person and a stubborn person and a busy person or a slower person. Perhaps you are a there's so many different types of bubbly person. Maybe you are quickly distracted. Maybe you have abilities to run fast, or very creative, or very structural mind, very business mind. We have all these different characteristics, but you basically were landed here with the certain tools that you needed to be and do what you do. If your mission is to be, you know, the greatest artist in the world, and they gave you an analytical mind and a good mind to do maths and all of these things, but they didn't give you any creative characteristics, then it's really hard for you to become the best painter in the world. And vice versa, if they gave you all the creative outlets, but you were supposed to be the greatest mathematician in the world, then perhaps without giving you a little bit of mathematics, etc., you wouldn't be able to do your mission or what your purpose here, right? So we come in with specific characteristics, abilities to be able to do what we chose to do here. That's why we were born in that place, so that we were made in that frequency, in that resonance. So our ego is super important. The problem maybe is when that ego is very strong, and our ego overrides our higher self, our subconscious, aka our subconscious. So this, if you've been watching my previous videos, you may have seen this already. I also explain this Ascension Trinity a lot in my Dreamtime video. So we have an Ascension Trinity, right? We have body, mind, and soul. The third dimension, fourth dimension, fifth dimension. The ego, the higher self, subconscious, and the superconscious. The feminine, the masculine, beyond the sexes. The left side of the brain, the right side of the brain, the superbrain, etc. We can go on and on and on, right? So we have the ego, which is connected to the I, to the masculine, to structural way of being, to the third dimension, which is handy. We've mostly been living in this third dimension, emphasis on this third dimension, so it's very, very strong. Right now we are going through an ascension process. We are changing. We are starting to connect to our feminine side, flowing, not so much structure. We're connecting to our subconscious, to our intuition, to our higher selves, all of that type of stuff, right? So this is on here, which is connected to the fourth dimension. So right now what we're doing is, as we are going through transformation and shedding the ego, we're just trying to balance out the ego. The ego has been really strong and potent, and we're trying to bring those levels down so that we can actually, first of all, exercise our higher self, our subconscious, our intuition, etc. And then what we can do is balance these two out. Finding balance between the ego and the higher self and subconscious. Finding balance between the two. Because we need the ego and our characteristics and our abilities and our higher self, our intuition, our consciousness, to be able to do the greater things, the good. There is a perfect equilibrium here, right? And once we are able to balance out our ego, our I, with the higher self, the subconscious, intuition, with the third dimension, with the fourth dimension, then we can raise up to the superconscious. Does that make sense? So the ego is not a bad thing. The ego has just turned to be a quote-unquote bad thing for now, because we've just been only emphasizing the ego, only practicing on the left side of the brain. What about the other side of the brain, our creative side, our intuition side, our higher self? Well, now we need to practice that, but we do need both of them. If we would only be living in intuition and subconsciousness, we wouldn't have enough of our ego and abilities and drive to be able to do the things we do. We need both. The one cannot strive without the other. We cannot have night without day, day without night, or black without white, white without black, etc. So yes, so when we're shedding and going through transformation, yes, we are letting pieces of our ego go, but just slightly. We're just slightly letting it go a little bit so that we can bring it to equalization. Just not making it so strong, not being so stubborn, so this. We're trying to balancing it out with the other side of ourselves, yeah? So when we go through this transformation with the ego, know that your ego is healthy. It's okay. Everything that got you where you are today, it's okay. Don't be ashamed of it. Don't think yourself less. Don't think that you're not worthy. You are. Everything got you where you are today. It's important where you are today because you're going through great transformation that is helping you, yourself, others, the world, all of us. We're all going through this together. So a lot of people are saying, oh, you cannot have the ego, but we should embrace the ego. Yes, we should let it go, let it lighter. All the parts of the ego that are not serving us, we shed those. But the ego is still important. So we love the ego. We just need to balance the ego. Have a nicer ego, a not so concentrated ego, so that our ego and our higher self or subconscious mind or our fourth dimensional being, that we can work together in harmony. And once we work together in harmony, then we can really connect to the super conscious, then we can connect to everything else, then we can connect to what is needed for the bigger picture for all of us, right? So that's the importance of the ego, keeping it there. Yes, letting go of the ego, but making it our friend, noticing the parts of it that we don't need, but also understanding all the parts of the ego and their importance. Perhaps before I used to be very hard on myself. Oh, you're always like this, or oh, you always get mad, or oh, you're always so stubborn, you're always a know-it-all, all of these things. And once you can see that you are not your ego, we are separate from our ego, we can laugh at it. Because look, when we came in, we were a beautiful light being. This is us, we're a star, we're a beautiful soul, light being, right? And when we came here, part of having a body, this physical vehicle, is, well, we have our ego, we have our higher self, we have the super consciousness, and super consciousness is our natural state of being, really. It's what we're connected to always over here. But when we came down, our body is connected one-on-one with the ego, with these characteristics, so we should laugh about it. I know that I am not my stubbornness, and I know that when I'm being a little know-it-all or a little silly or a little bratty or whatever it may be, I know that that is not me, the soul, the beautiful light that's inside me. I don't have those things. I came down to do a specific purpose, and to be able to do that, I have certain qualities to me. And now, are those qualities going to override, who I am? Am I going to be so stubborn that I'm going to inhibit myself of being able to do what I need to do? Or can I laugh at myself and say, oh my gosh, there I am being all stubborn again, because I know this of myself, and I know that is part of me, but I know it's also separate of me. I can see it as an outside perspective looking into my vehicle, my body, and these are, if you will, if this is my car, my vehicle, my stubbornness and all of this is part of, the dashboard and part of the buttons in the car. But I know that me, the passenger, it's not part of my soul. My soul isn't stubborn and a know-it-all. etc. These are just parts of me that I came in so that I'm able to do the missions, go through the lessons that I need to go through, do what I need to do. So we're thankful about this, and we can see that these are just extra powers separate from us, and we can be thankful for those things and laugh at it. Really, with everything, there has to be an immense amount of joy and not taking ourselves too seriously and just laughing at it. Yeah, I definitely laugh at myself sometimes if I be, what's that word? Sometimes I can get defensive. And I laugh at it now because I know it's something, a lesson that I'm going through. I can see it away from myself, and it's just an hilarious thing. And as I embrace my defensiveness and I embrace that part of me, I start to become friends and start to understand my friend. Why is it there? How can I become better friends with it? And thus I'm dissolving it away. Does that make sense? So yeah, the ego transformation. I guess that information just wanted to come through so that we can see it as part of us. We don't want to put the ego away into the corner and put it under the carpet and say, oh no, that's not part of me. No, embrace the ego, be best friends with your ego, understand your ego, and then balance it. Then balance it with your higher self. This is the part of transformation. We have active roles in our transformation. If we're just like, denying it, we're just doing the same thing. Just like we're living in the matrix and we're denying that there's this other world, or we're denying beautiful parts of ourselves. Oh yeah, this is the ego, this is part of me, and now I'm just going to throw it away and pretend, lock it in a cabinet and pretend it's not there. That's not the way either, right? We want to embrace it and take that and have an active role in our transformation. So yeah, that's all that wanted to come through about this right now, and I will do another part of this pretty soon. So thank you for tuning in again and sending you lots of love. Thank you. Bye. Let's see how I can hang up. Let's see how I can hang this up. All right, here it is. Bye-bye.